In this video, I'm going to show you how to go through the steps for this assignment called Boolean Operations. The first step will be to click on this link and download the file. We'll kind of accelerate the process through going through some of these operations by me giving you something to work with. So go ahead and download and open it up in Rhino. Okay, I have the file open and I'm going to proceed with walking through these various operations. If you zoom in, you're going to see next to these blocks some text. They are referring to some of the commands or operations that you can perform in Rhino. They're referred to as Boolean operations, and they are also part of the AutoCAD command structure. We just don't include the word Boolean. Just for your information, Boole was a mathematician, hence the name associated with these commands. So in AutoCAD, you can union, you can subtract, you can intersect objects. It's really the same process. So I'm going to take you quickly through how these work. So I've zoomed into the first one, Boolean union. At the command line, you can start typing in Boolean and select the union option. All you're doing is basically taking a series of three-dimensional forms and merging them into one. So I clicked on both of them, press enter, and now, and I'm going to use the gumball to sort of move it around a little bit. Now it's one unified element. And you'll also notice that I now have this gridded pattern on the surface of these. The reason for that is any surface that's not a primitive, primitives are cubes, cones, cylinders, etc., will have these patterns on them. They lose, once they've been transformed from a primitive to another three-dimensional form, they lose some degree of manipulation that you can perform on them. Basically, you could scale something up in a way that you can no longer do once they've had this that primitive feature removed from them. All right. Next one that we're going to do is called Boolean difference, and it is basically the same thing as AutoCAD subtract. So I start typing in bool, and I go to difference, and it's going to ask you to choose the surface to subtract from. So if I want to keep the bottom one, I'm going to choose that one first, press enter, and then select the top one, and then press enter, and it will subtract the portion that was intersecting. This Boolean difference. The third one is Boolean intersection. And again, this is a tool that you may have used in AutoCAD. We type in Boolean and intersection, and what's going to happen when I pick the two elements is it will retain only the part that is within the intersection. So I pick them both, press enter, and what's left over is that intersecting area. Number 4 is referred to as Boolean split. Boolean split kind of combines some of the functions of the last 3 that we just did. And I think the best way is just to jump in and illustrate what happens when you do this. Boolean split. Okay, I'm going to pick them in the same order that I had done previously for the other ones. I'll pick this one. I'll enter. I'll pick this one. I'll enter. And what's happened here is it's retained all 3 parts. It's retained this as a subtracted element. It's retained one of the forms in its primitive form. And at the part that's intersecting, it also has a small piece. So if I click on this and shift this back, and I'm going to pick this one and use the gumball to pull this one out. Maybe I'll pull this one a little further. You can see it's got these 3 parts. this remained as it was. This is the intersection portion, and this is the subtracted or Boolean difference form. Okay. The last one, and for this one, maybe you want to pull it apart so you can sort of see that on the one that you do. This next one is called Boolean to objects. So it also kind of combines the functionality of the other Boolean operations. Basically, I'm going to pick two elements. So those are now part of the selection set. And as you can see up here, it says click to iterate through Boolean results. So I'll click once and I have the intersection. Click another time, I have the Boolean difference. I have another Boolean difference. Okay, so you can just keep clicking until you get to the one that you want to keep. And once you've found that, it doesn't matter to you which one you end up selecting. You would press enter, and that is what you'll be left with. So I have the Boolean difference element left, similar to this one, but the opposite one, because it's the one that I toggled through. So those are the 5 Boolean tools. What you're going to do now is make a screenshot from 2 directions. So maybe I'll do one from this way, and then I'll rotate it around and do one from the opposite side. So I get a nice view of the 5 operations that I completed.